Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We're broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and in that studio, it's time to talk about the Veterans Stand-On event at Dunn Field. Welcome to the program.
Well, thanks for having us
today. Of course. I'm so excited to talk about this. So we were talking off the air. This is good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning, and we have a lot to cover this morning. If you are a veteran or you know a veteran, if you want to get this information out there and you do, make sure you tune in at 7 or tell your friends, your neighbors. It's the VA Finger Lakes. They have their upcoming stand-down event at Dunn Field. You're going to learn all about that in the 7 o'clock hour. We have a lot to cover this morning. The rise of the DSA, a few New York updates. First, let's start with a viewer comment from Jack, and he says, good morning, virtual wave. Well, good morning to you, Jack. So happy to get the signs. That's Bruce Blakeman signs. I installed them high on 2 buildings. If they have any more, I'm bringing one to my brother in Binghamton today. Very nice. Yes, I am very excited that Bruce Blakeman has his signs well ahead of time. Normally, we don't start even hearing grumblings of signs coming around our area until Labor Day. So to get them out already, I know people are picking them up at the Steuben County Fair. Chemung had 2. The Chemung Republican Committee had 2 pickup days the last couple days. So that's very exciting. Thank you for sending that information. Okay, on a troubling note, gross U.S. debt has surpassed $40 trillion, a new milestone in the country's struggle to control its finances. The country's total public debt outstanding officially hit $40 trillion yesterday, according to the Treasury Department. Reaching that threshold carries symbolic weight, but isn't by itself economically significant, according, I believe this is the Wall Street Journal. But just mentioning that the U.S. has hit a new borrowing milestone, while debt as a share of GDP nears levels last seen during World War II. All right. On the international front, we're going to kick off with that. Then we got quite a few local issues that I want to bring to you. We also have just a slew of things that we cannot segue to. But first, as I said, international, the U.S. has been stealthily shepherding millions of barrels of oil a day across the Strait of Hormuz, helping prevent further shocks to the world's oil market, according to analysts. The U.S. successfully protected tankers carrying about 5 million barrels of oil daily through July by conducting stealth missions near the Omani coast, according to the New York Times. Quote, they have been extraordinarily effective in keeping that southern corridor operating despite the attacks. We also heard the President Donald Trump, announce yesterday economic D-Day against Iran, saying on Truth Social, no one has given the Islamic Republic of Iran a greater opportunity to make a deal than me. Tragically, for them, they have failed to take it. Therefore, today, I'm announcing the most crushing economic operation ever taken against any country. This will be economic warfare and isolation on an unprecedented scale. Trump said Iran is hanging by a thread as a result of U.S. military strikes that have devastated the country's Navy, Air Force, and military infrastructure, and declared that, quote, any country that allows its financial institutions, businesses, airports, or government entities to provide any type of lifeline to Iran will face tremendous economic consequences. Oil smuggling, swap lines, cash transfers, exchange houses, ship registries, front companies, it all needs to stop now, with now in all caps. You know who you are. Trump likened the operation to an economic D-Day that will require our allies to stand with the United States of America to isolate and defeat the Iran threat. Under Trump's declaration, it comes after the 60-day period for negotiations to end the war, established under an interim peace deal signed in June, which expired Monday without a breakthrough. Now, according to Fox News, Tehran is deepening its financial and military ties with Beijing and Moscow, which is a very troubling sign, forging a critical lifeline as it seeks to circumvent U.S. sanctions. This is, we learned this coming off the heels of the maximum pressure campaign. This is the axis of evil that we talked about really since the early days of the broadcast on television and going back to the radio days. As the U.S. continues to ramp up Operation Economic Fury, Iran, they say, has turned to non-Western blocs and alliances to unite further with Russia and China while positioning itself as a linchpin in a network that directly challenges American influence. And we know that China wants to be the lone world superpower, essentially, and Russia and Iran involved. Then this comes, again, off the heels of President Trump's threat. The Islamic Republic is looking to survive, but in order to survive, it needs to adapt, said Senior Director of the Iran Program at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. It needs to adapt not just to U.S. and Israeli military pressure, but to the U.S. political and economic pressure. There's no doubt the Islamic Republic is looking to maximize its enmeshments with countries like Russia and China that have been subject to U.S. political and economic pressures in the past. BRICS, an economic bloc consisting of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and several recent expansion nations, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, a Eurasian political, economic, and security alliance led by Beijing and Moscow, have become key vehicles for Iran's outreach as of late. Trump has previously labeled BRICS policies anti-American, according to CNBC. So what we're learning is that Iran is kind of tapping its financial lifelines and Russian arms as Trump escalates a crushing economic warfare. We also learned on the international front yesterday, and we're going to get away from international here quickly, but Trump confirmed that he plans to meet with Kim Jong-un, and it says later this year, the third sit-down between the two across the commander-in-chief's 2 terms. Trump declined to give a date for the meeting, but reports have suggested it could happen in November when the president is in China for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. I get along with him, and you know that what? The fact that I get along with him, that's a good thing, not a bad thing, Trump told reporters about Kim. And he stated, when talking to reporters, that Kim has 57 very powerful nuclear weapons. Should have never allowed it to happen. They should have never allowed it. If I were president, I wouldn't have allowed it, but he's got them. Now, past intelligence assessments have indicated North Korea has between 50 and 60 active nuclear warheads, but Trump's comments mark the first time a U.S. official has given a specific number. Now, needless to say, North Korea did not immediately confirm a meeting or the number of bombs. Now, the sister of the portly dictator, Kim Yo-jong, saying to state media, "We think it's not worth making comments on that, and we have not any interest in it." Over the weekend, Trump announced that he had ordered War Secretary Pete Hegseth to substantially cut back a regularly scheduled military drill with South Korea. The president made the surprising announcement on social media a few hours before the exercises were scheduled to begin. The drill will now end August 21st instead of August 27th. Trump's announcement came after North Korea complained about the drills, and the president's drawn-down order did not appear to appease them in North Korea. The provocative, aggressive nature of the drills won't change even though their duration and size were reduced, said Kim's sister, who seems to be more and more like the leader of North Korea. Okay, so there's your international front. We've got some major just updates. I don't know how else to put them because, like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about the Democrat Socialists of America. You know, when actor Tim Robbins says that the Democrat Party has to get their stuff together, that things are looking pretty wild. If you recall, Tim Robbins, the actor of Shawshank Redemption, he's kind of been the face of the far left movement for a long time. And as I guess you would say, he has aged. He hasn't been as focused on. But obviously he was, for a long time, what people pointed to for the kind of loony left Hollywood. But even he's saying, whoa, let's settle down. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. As I said, a few New York State updates as well. What else do we got? I don't know. I'm excited, I should say, to get to a couple local announcements. But I'm going to wait for that and get through some of the heavy stuff. Missouri, this was breaking late last night. A Missouri judge has allowed new U.S. House districts backed by President Trump to be used in the November elections, rejecting a bid to put the Republican-friendly districts to a statewide vote of the people. The ruling Wednesday by Cole County Circuit Judge Daniel Green is a victory for Republicans seeking to hold on to their slim majority in the U.S. House. But the case is likely to end up in the Supreme Court, or the state Supreme Court. Missouri's new districts already were used in August primaries. On the same day, Republican Secretary of State Denny Hoskins rejected a petition with thousands of signatures seeking to force a November referendum on the map. Hoskins asserted that Missouri's constitution doesn't allow a referendum on congressional redistricting. The judge agreed with Hoskins and other Republicans who joined in defense of the new map. Green wrote in his ruling, Judge Green, the Missouri Constitution does not supply any statement, let alone a clear one, reallocating authority over congressional redistricting away from the General Assembly to a referendum process. Now, Richard Von Gahn, executive director of People Not Politicians, said everyone knows that Cole County is not the final decision here. After months of delay, we are pleased to be moving forward to the Missouri Supreme Court to enforce our constitutional rights. Missouri's current U.S. House delegation is made up of 6 Republicans and 2 Democrats who were elected from districts with boundaries drawn from the 2020 census. But Republican Governor Mike Keogh called the legislature into a special session on redistricting last year after Trump urged Republican-led states to redraw their congressional boundaries. Missouri's revised map is designed to help Republicans defeat Democrat U.S. Representative Emanuel Cleaver of Kansas City. It reassigns portions of Kansas City to 2 neighboring districts represented by Republicans and stretches the remainder of Cleaver's 5th congressional district far eastward into Republican-heavy rural areas. About 59% of its voters are now new to the 5th district. State Senator Rick Bratton won a Republican primary in the reshaped district in early August. Cleaver was unopposed for the Democratic nomination. Republicans had argued that the new districts should be used in the November elections if a voter referendum on the map was allowed to occur at the same time. So that was a pretty big breaking news and a pretty big win for President Trump yesterday. All right, so we've got some other quick updates that I think you'll need to know to start your day. We're going to talk about, really, I know it's been such a consistent message here on the program, but we've got to talk about this rise of the DSA, because as we near midterms, Democrat Socialists of America, as we head towards the midterms, a lot is being said. You've got the infighting, the civil war in the Democrat Party of the establishment versus the DSA, and then you've got that extra fight of certain DSA members against other DSA members. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We do have some updates from the White House. A couple quick announcements. By the way, if you missed any of our interviews this week, you can find them on our YouTube page or at WYDCTV.com. Monday, we had Nick Pelham about the Steuben County Fair. Tuesday, Robert Barnum about Wrestling with the Cold War, that book about wrestling during the Cold War. Can't get any more simple than that, but a fun interview, and it looks like it's going to be a great book. Out now, by the way. Yesterday, we talked with Mary Caruso from the Corning Community Food Pantry, who's up for that amazing grant from the NASCAR Foundation. So don't forget to vote today. You can vote every single day, once a day, until September the 6th. And if she is victorious, she's only one of 4 national finalists. If she is victorious, she will get $100,000 to go to the Corning Community Food Pantry. So keep that in mind. So I hope that you'll vote every day. Today we're going to hear from VA Finger Lakes. And don't forget, tomorrow it's Fridays with Phil, so get your questions in. Phil Palmisano will be joining us in the 7 o'clock hour on Friday. I've got some special announcements when I get my schedule officially set in stone for next week. We're going to have some big guests next week as well. So we look forward to all of our upcoming guests, and we thank our previous guests. So you can find our previous guests at WYDCTV.com or on our YouTube page. All right, let's take that short break. I see some waves. I see some comments coming in. Keep them coming in. We're just getting warmed up on this Thursday edition. We're all getting excited. I know I am. Going to be at the Steuben County Fair today from noon to 2. I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait to see the pig races. Can't wait to see everybody come out to the Republican booth and just say hi. So this is going to be a fun day. I can feel it already. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
It's layaway your swimming pool time at Hesselson's for next year. With Hesselson's Easy Layaway Plan, only $500 down guarantees you this year's price and gets you on an early installation date for next year. But hurry in, as next year's list will fill fast. Same great pricing, same great service, same great installation. Come in early so you can enjoy your new swimming pool all summer long. Hesselson's, your locally owned and operated swimming pool store since 1955, will always be there for you today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Come celebrate the 207th Steuben County Fair from Monday, August 17th through Sunday, August 23rd. Wednesday, August 19th is Broken Bee Rodeo starting at 7 p.m. And there's more. Demolition derbies, monster truck show, games, rides, fun for the whole family. For tickets and information, visit SteubenCountyFair.org. Experience the Steuben County Fair from August 17th through the 23rd.
Lease a brand new 2026 Chevy Equinox 1LT all-wheel drive with Gene Lease Loyalty or Conquest Bonus for only $389 a month for 36 months. Make car buying simple. Drive your deal at Simmons Rockwell Chevrolet in Bath.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've got some cooler conditions to talk about, some showers and thunderstorms as well here in Elmira and surrounding communities. High temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s range. We're thinking below the average. We'll clear out of the rain as an area of high pressure will be building into tomorrow, limiting our rain chances. Plenty of sunshine to be had as we wrap up the work week. As we look forward to the weekend, some late showers can't be ruled out Saturday with limited coverage.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Comment from a viewer who says, good morning, good morning. You mentioned D-Day, and it occurred to me I didn't know what the D stood for, so I looked it up. The best I could find was that D, the D in D-Day, was redundant and stood for day. Though I thought this might be interesting. Have a great day. Well, you have a great day as well. And yeah, that's the way I understand it too. D-Day has obviously become so synonymous with a kind of a decision day or something like that, or doomsday. But that's not what originally was the case. The way I understand it was kind of a placeholder that you would, the way, and I just looked it up quickly too, so, take it with a grain of salt, but like D2 day would be 2 days before the actual day something's going to happen. So yeah, basically a placeholder and redundant, but yeah, that is interesting. Thank you for that. Okay, it was not announced yesterday, but Alina Habba, who was in the running, actually on the betting markets, she was a favorite to take over Carolyn Levitt as White House press secretary. She dismissed the speculation that she's the front runner, calling it, quote, fake news. Flattered by the Kelshi odds. Am I saying that right? I'm not overly familiar with these betting markets. I know Poly Market because that seems kind of easy to say, but Kelshi odds. But I'm not in the running for any job. However, if I'm getting a new one, I'd love for one of these anonymous sources to let me know first. That, again, she's spot on. Maybe that's why she would make a great press secretary, and maybe that's why she's the favorite on the betting markets, the money markets, or whatever they officially call them, because that's what we've been saying on this program for so long about anonymous sources. There's always these anonymous sources, and you start to question, is there even a source? Or is it just easier for these journalists, that journalist who, quote-unquote journalist who wrote a book about Zoran Mamdani, he got fired from his job because there's so many instances of plagiarism. That's kind of become a common thread. So if we take that theory that there's a laziness, or maybe you could say a need to be quick for deadlines, whatever, so there's a sloppiness there, are they just creating anonymous sources out of thin air? Or when they say an insider at the White House, is it really just their buddy that works in, as a custodian in the visitor center of the White House? Wouldn't that technically be a White House insider? So she's spot on with that. That I'd love one of these anonymous sources to let me know first. She then continued, fake news remains the undefeated champ. Well, until I come at them. Oh, until I come at them. So maybe she is making a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge there. Bettors on the popular prediction market platform gave her a 35% chance of succeeding Levitt. Habba's odds dropped to 24% in the hours after her post and was surpassed by Scott Jennings from CNN as a betting favorite. He's at 30%. He'd make a very interesting press secretary, wouldn't he, Scott Jennings? White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary Ann Kelly has a 13% chance of landing the gig. So I guess being Principal Deputy Press Secretary doesn't necessarily mean you're on the way up the ladder. Habba gained fame as one of Trump's defense lawyers, giving passionate televised appeals on his behalf to journalists during the criminal and civil trials before his second term. All right, there you go. So she says she's not in the running for the new job. So maybe keep your money safe, or maybe read between the lines. Who knows? Yesterday we brought up, and boy, the media ran wild with this. I don't know what it is about the media that wants to see Darlene Graham fail. I think it goes back to their hatred of her late brother, Lindsey Graham, because they can write these glowing pieces about him now after his passing. But think of how nasty they were to Lindsey Graham. And there's still, many of them are still nasty to this day. Some of the things that we read after his passing were just despicable. But for whatever reason, must be because of the Graham name, and probably more so just because she's a Republican, they want to see her fail. So she answers this question, and we can all agree it was awkward during the debate, basically saying she doesn't know about international policy. So she was on Hannity's program. And Hannity said, so the issue of Taiwan came up last night. And I know people have made a big deal about it. And I'm like, I wonder how many people around the country, if I gave them a map, could pick out Taiwan. I don't think many. And not just, I mean the whole country, never mind South Carolina. And he raises a good point. There's this issue when a politician and she's not a politician, I shouldn't say that, but she is a candidate. Darlene Graham says, I got to be honest with you, I don't know international policy. I'm focused on domestic policy. There should be a level of almost charm there. Well, thank you for the honesty. You don't normally hear that. You normally hear kind of like with a Kamala Harris and others, if they don't know, they give that word salad, which I do feel that term's being overused, but not with Harris. A word salad that never gives you the answer. She's not honed up enough into that kind of politics, that bad kind of politics, to come up with a word salad that means nothing but somehow gets you through the question. So she said, I'm just going to be honest. And to Hannity's point, could the people that are criticizing her, not just the everyday person, I'm talking about those in the media, the pundits, the experts, could they pick out Taiwan on a map? Well, Graham said, right. I think you're 100% right, Sean. And I tripped up on one question last night regarding Taiwan. But I've said many, many times, I'm not a politician, certainly not a career politician. I don't speak politician. I was just honest. And I think that kind of is of a foreign concept. But I talked to several people today. I traveled around the state, and they said, we appreciate the fact that you were honest. And I did say several times that China is our enemy, a military and economic threat to the U.S. Of course, Taiwan is our friend. But I think people in South Carolina are more worried about making ends meet. They're concerned about boys and girls sports. One lady talked to me extensively about that today. They're concerned about the Second Amendment. They're concerned about the Save America Act, illegal immigration. So they're concerned about a lot of things other than Taiwan. I know national security is important. We have a wonderful commander-in-chief. I know that we need to stand with Israel, and the issues in Iran are serious. I understand all of that. But again, I'm focused on the issues for everyday people in South Carolina that are struggling to make ends meet. Handy added that he does think it's fair if people want to judge Graham on the issue. So that's kind of a little mini update from a story that we brought to you yesterday. But I do think they both raise good points. You know, many of the people that criticize, especially when you get to that level, Senate, or we see it during presidential debates, could they point out a wave from Taiwan? A wave from Taiwan. I was thinking about a wave because I think about all the places we get waves. That's what I was thinking. Could I find on the map if we got a wave from Taiwan? But, you know, could you pick out Taiwan on a map? Could I put the pin? Could you show me where to put the pin if we get a wave ever from Taiwan? So I think that's a fair update. Now this is, oh no, I'm running late. I've got a few other, we're going to give you, this is a story we bring to you. For a while there was once every day. Now it's turning into about once every week. The leaders of the MAGA movement that we all agree are not leaders at all, or not even in the MAGA movement. Well, USA Today did a fantastic, probably 10-page article about these MAGA defectors. But at one point they were the voices of MAGA, so it gets really confusing. So you may want to get out your charts and graphs. We'll talk about that, and we do have a very scary situation with Judge Jeanine Pirro, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, Elmira native. Tell you about that. Then the rise of Democrat Socialists of America. If there's anything else you think you want to add in, by all means, please do. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News. Kids time. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
Reviews rank Ferrario Ram the highest customer experience Ram dealer in our area.
Get a new 1500 Ram Ferrario priced at 18% off. Express, Warlock, or Bighorn. Ferrario priced at 18% off. With America's best full-size truck powertrain limited warranty, 10-year, 100,000 miles. 2026 Ram 1500, 18% off. Take your pick.
Make this the summer event.
Visit Ferrario Ram in Elmira for your Ram 1500.
Small businesses are the heart of America. Like you, these entrepreneurs started out with a dream and the drive to build a better life. If you have a small business idea to grow or challenge to face, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1964, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses. Today, they are the nation's largest nonprofit source of expert mentoring, resources, and education. Whether you're starting out, building back, or have worked at it for years, SCORE will match you with specialized mentors. Our thousands of volunteers provide the guidance and connections you need for free. Your success is waiting. SCORE is ready to help. Find a mentor today at SCORE.org.
Your Big Fox, WYDC TV.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. I should mention, I apologize if you tuned in and hoped that I would just spend the full 2 hours on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle moving back to the UK. I think you tuned into the wrong place. I apologize. Ken writes in, I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag too soon, but several very reliable anonymous sources say Frank Acom is the front runner to take over for Carolyn Levitt. Okay. Very nice, Ken. Very well played. I think we're safe there. I do. Your anonymous sources are, those ones are definitely out of thin air. But no, that's very kind of you. That's funny. Spot on. This is scary coming out of, well, this is the New York Post. An unhinged Long Island man has been arrested for allegedly threatening to travel to Washington, D.C. to, quote, put a bullet in U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's head. Elmira native Jeanine Pirro. Daniel Kretzinger. And listen, I don't think you can downplay enough how much the media fanning the flames of this hatred. The left, I mean, this John Ossoff, who we'll talk about here in just a little bit, his attacks on Trump. They had a piece, and it'll make you laugh when I bring it up in Axios, but will Democrats have an appetite, I'm paraphrasing, but will they have an appetite for a candidate that goes low? As if the left hasn't been low against Trump, his administration, the Supreme Court, you name it, for forever. In this case, Jeanine Pirro has been mocked, ridiculed, attacked by the media, attacked by the far left, the left, the Democrat Party in general. So it creates this powder keg, and that's why we've seen so many attempted assassinations on President Trump. But they don't ever calm down the rhetoric. As a matter of fact, they're saying, are they even using bad rhetoric yet? I mean, it's enough to drive you crazy. But Daniel Kretzinger of, I'm not sure if I'm not going to pronounce this right, but I will try, Hapag, New York, Hapag, posted 2 vile and menacing videos to X on June 30th, threatening violence against Pirro and further suggesting he may also attempt to assassinate President Trump, according to the criminal complaints filed earlier this month. And here's where I've got to be careful, because here's when we start to get the censors. Quote, because you're such a lying, despicable piece of blank, Kretzinger allegedly said in a terrifying video, replying to an X post from Pirro's account. So he was actually posting this video. Man, everybody wants to be viral. Isn't it amazing? So he posts this video on Pirro's account. Quote, I'm specifically targeting you when I come to Washington, D.C. and put a bullet directly between your eyes, blank. Even the picture of him. I was going to show it on screen. I don't want to. The picture of him alone is creepy. He seems allegedly unhinged. Allegedly, you always got to throw allegedly and all that. He was shirtless and appeared enraged in the video, then warned, and if Trump keeps up his, we'll say baloney on this one, I may kill the president too. That's what he said in his video, posted in a response to a video that Judge Jeanine Pirro had posted. But one video, not enough. In a second video, posted just minutes later, Kretzinger allegedly doubled down on his threat to kill the D.C. U.S. attorney. I'm going to come to D.C. very blanking soon, sweetheart, and I'm going to put a bullet in your blanking head, the crazed man said, according to the complaint. I love you, you evil, lying, dirtbag, thieving, blanking blank. Okay. Kretzinger was located and interviewed by law enforcement on July 9th, which I've got to say, kudos to them. But June 30th to July 9th, it's a lot of time for a man that unhinged. During the interview, he acknowledged the X account where the 2 videos were posted was his, and that he had previously traveled to Washington, Florida, and Long Island in an effort to find Judge Jeanine. I know I get attorney, U.S. District Attorney, or yeah. Judge Jeanine is just going to be the U.S. Attorney. I got to get into that habit, but it's just tough not to remember Judge Jeanine, right? So he was looking for her. An arrest warrant for Kretzinger was issued on August 7th, and he was taken into custody on August 11th. He is facing charges of transmitting a threat to injure a person across state lines, a violation of federal law that carries a maximum 5-year prison sentence. Kretzinger was released by a magistrate judge over the government's objection. So they released him? I did not catch this part yet. First of all, isn't there something, if he was traveling to find her, admitted that, can't there be more of a charge than just transmitting a threat? Not just, but threatening to injure a person across state lines? So the best that Wow, okay. But the judge, was it in New York? That makes sense. If it was in New York, released him, even though the government objected, rightfully so, having admitted that he traveled to Washington, D.C., Florida, and Long Island in an effort to find attorney Jeanine Pirro. He did put him in an inpatient psych treatment program where he must remain, according to a spokesman for the U.S. attorneys. I got cut off here. I don't know who said it officially. No one should ever be threatened or targeted for violence. Public officials are no exception, and we commend the United States Marshal Services for its swift action, a spokesperson for Pirro's office said. Cressenger did not immediately respond to the post request for comment. The firing up of this rhetoric. I mean, it's just like I say with this Ossoff. And there's a great piece that we're going to get to here in a little bit by Miranda Devine, but talking about John Ossoff's disgustingly sly and sexist attack on Trump's aide, Natalie Harp, and the media. It's not just Ossoff. It's the media in general. There was a piece this morning, I want to say it was by the Wall Street Journal, that dives into this Natalie Harp. This is the media's focus right now. They're trying to make something nefarious, and I think, to Miranda Devine's point, sexist, about her relationship with the president being a top aide. They had piece after piece this morning. I didn't even print it off because it became so vile. I mean, Drudge Report has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at the very top. 8 different stories. Obsession. Trump's ever-present assistant becomes talk of Washington. With all my heart, Natalie. Secret Service was alarmed. She once rode an SUV trunk to accompany him. Screaming matches with staffers. Brother lifts lid on unhealthy behavior, and her loyalty to the Don began in childhood? ? Though this is what the media runs with. They don't focus. It's the same with their hatred of a ballroom, right? A ballroom that past presidents have called for. This, speaking of unhinged, and you wonder why people that aren't stable to begin with take this too far. It's sad. It's sad that the media doesn't even see the attempted assassination attempts against the president. They don't even talk about the attacks on Judge Jeanine. Where did I find that? Conservative outlets. It's as if that isn't relevant when they push their hatred like Ossoff said. But again, Ossoff, can Democrats handle? Do they have an appetite for going low? That's what Axios asked. Do Democrats have an appetite for going low? Ossoff is testing it out. Now, wasn't it, what about a year ago, that they were praising Gavin Newsom for going low, for he's doing what Trump does. He's attacking. He's doing, this is who we need. His shtick got old. People got sick of it, so they kind of moved on. Not to say he's not a contender for Democrat presidential primary. I'm just saying that it's the kind of the flavor of the day, right? So now, do you think Democrats have an appetite? I'm going to ask you the question. Axios asked it. Do Democrats have an appetite for going low? Because that's the famous line that was laughable at the time as well. If you think about the attacks just on George W. Bush, you think about the attacks on Mitt Romney, of all people. Anybody with an R next to their name, right? Anyway, if you think about the attacks, but Michelle Obama's, if they go low, we go high. Okay. We laughed at it the time because it's kind of rewriting history in real time, trying to tell you one thing that's just not truthful, but hopefully they say it enough times that you'll believe it. So that's where that line, do they have an appetite for going low, comes from. But yes, do Democrats have an appetite for going low? Will they be able to handle it? They ever tried it out? We got to take a short break. Then we're going to tell you about the media telling you what MAGA is and what it is not. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
You deserve primary care that connects. Care that helps you move forward. To a provider who knows you. To the care you need. To the life you love. That's the power of a strong connection. Meet your new primary care provider at centralishealth.org/schedule and be seen within a week.
Make this summer event at Chilson Wilcox Reloaded. Drive home a 2026 Ram 1500 Express and save over $10,000. Step up to a 2026 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew 4x4 and save over $13,000. Plus, it comes with the best powertrain warranty in the business. 10 years or 100,000 miles. Save over $8,000 on a 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo X. And as always, get the highest trade-in values, period. Always save more at Chilson Wilcox. Selling cars a different way, the right way. Hurry in. When they're gone, they're gone.
The American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge communities offer a free home away from home, closer to cancer care. People are meant to be together. Learn more to help keep it that way.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've got some cooler conditions to talk about, some showers and thunderstorms as well here in Elmira and surrounding communities. High temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s range. We're thinking below the average. We'll clear out of the rain as an area of high pressure will be building into tomorrow, limiting our rain chances. Plenty of sunshine to be had as we wrap up the work week. As we look forward to the weekend, some late showers can't be ruled out Saturday with limited
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam. As you can see, they're out cleaning the streets. You may hear that noise in the background. Brought to you by Boss Security. The view is, not the street sweepers. Contact Boss Security today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Comment from a viewer regarding crazy detached Democrats, and that's in reference to the person that was threatening to attack Judge Jeanine Pirro. Yesterday, I saw that someone was sentenced to 6 years in prison for saying he was going to kill Scott Bessent. Democrats are unhinged closet criminals. I did not hear about that, and that goes to show you. I mean, I learned about Jeanine Pirro and that and from a more conservative-leaning outlet, and then I saw your comment, so I looked it up, and all I could find it was on Fox News. You're talking, of all people, Scott Bessent? I mean, it's gotten so unhinged, so terrifying that we're going through, I guess, the whole list. So this is what I learned, and thank you because I had not heard it. A biological male who identifies as a woman was sentenced to 73 months, so that's 6 years and 1 month, Tuesday, for a plot to kill Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Prosecutors sought at least 10 years in prison for Riley Jane English, who was identified by the Justice Department as Ryan Michael English. U.S. District Judge Rudolph Contreras, an appointee of former President Barack Obama, sentenced English after a guilty plea to 2 counts related to an attempt to kill Bessent and carrying dangerous weapons on the grounds of the Capitol on January 27th. So actually, I mean, the media isn't even reporting on this. I had not heard about this. We do a lot of show prep on this program. I had not heard about this, and this is all we learned, and only 6 years in prison. The offense is very serious, said the judge, adding that Miss English was concerned with trans rights and came to the Capitol with a folding knife and 2 small Molotov cocktails, which probably would not have ignited. Probably. Is that the language that we use in the courts? Probably. Should we maybe be a little more, fair? Can you just say Molotov cocktails? Probably wouldn't have lighted. Do you think that makes Scott Bessent feel better? That was a quote. Contreras said English is a 26-year-old trans woman who has many physical and mental health issues, which was exacerbated by drug usage. The calculations for sentencing range was 97 to 121 months, and Department of Justice prosecutor Brendan Horan asked for a sentence at the top end of the suggested range, but Contreras said he believed the range was too high. Quote, no one was harmed. The plan was basically impossible to succeed, and she turned herself in before it came anywhere near fruition, said the judge. Contreras also noted that the probation department recommended a sentence of 60 months. English had served roughly 20 months in prison already and will get credit for that time served, as well as 3 years of probation after the sentence. Contreras told English, you've had a very difficult life with a lot of challenges. You're young. You still have a significant portion of your life. Good luck to you. The defense team requested that English be placed in a female prison. Contreras said he would pass the request to the Bureau of Prisons. Speaking again of U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro, she wrote, "My office will not tolerate attempts to intimidate or harm public officials that strike at the heart of our democratic process and are antithetical to the values we all depend on. The defendant is now a convicted felon and is headed where he belongs, prison." English told the judge before the sentence was delivered, "I love my country, I love my family, and I live my life. I never wanted to hurt anyone. At times, I can't explain the mental state that I'm in. I'm sorry for the fear I caused the country and my family. I have a lot on my plate with an upcoming surgery. I want a chance to work and start a family of my own. I'm grateful for the opportunity to get sober and get right in my mind." So this judge, it sounds to me arbitrarily, saying, well, the range is 97 to 121 months, but we're going to say 73 months with 20 months already served, and then 3 years probation after. So, well, that range is too high in the judge's opinion. All right, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I had not heard that. All right, MAGA, because I know you need to be told what MAGA is. Well, what went from MAGA being Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, all these no-names. Remember, they were telling us that every day that, oh my gosh, did you see the shocking thing MAGA believes now? And we'd say, wait a minute, Tucker Carlson doesn't speak for MAGA. Well, now they're calling them MAGA dissidents. Okay. President Trump led an insurgent takeover of the Republican Party. Now one prominent MAGA dissident believes conservative critics of the Iran war could use the same playbook. After resigning from the Trump administration over his opposition to the conflict in Iran, Joe Kent has been exploring how to channel anti-war sentiment into political action. I'm sorry I got to say this. Who is Joe Kent? What a horrible decision to put him at one point in the administration, or however you want to, whatever his official term was, even hire him. And then he just used it as a stepping stone. So he wants to be, he's not, he's a nobody, he's a no-name, but wants to be the star of this anti-MAGA movement. But leave it to the mainstream media to give him, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, Thomas Massey a platform. Because remember, they may hate these people because they're still quote-unquote Republicans, or maybe at one time had some kind of conservative views, so they still hate them, the media. But now they realize they can use them as the term we use, and it's a political term. It's not just to be insulting, but they are useful idiots. They don't seem to care. Tucker Carlson's never cared in his whole career. It's a very much a Joe Scarborough scenario where Tucker Carlson is only worried about one person, that's Tucker Carlson, where he can make his money. So his beliefs are ever changing for the almighty dollar, just like Joe Scarborough. But anyway, the mainstream media, who, I mean, think of the stuff they wrote about Marjorie Taylor Greene when she was actually pro-Trump. But boy, as soon as she became anti-Trump, how many times has she been on The View? The fact that CNN or an MS Now or someplace like that hasn't hired her, they're still going to be suspicious because she did have an R next to her name. She did support Trump initially, so they're still going to be skeptical. So they'll just continue to use her, and they'll love it because it keeps their name, quote-unquote, relevant. Well, Joe Kent said he's taking a play from the playbook of the president and hijacking the GOP. Quote, "We know that we have something here in terms of political energy," Kent said. "We know that people are frustrated." Where is the energy coming from? Because this is a bubble scenario where the media is telling them, yeah, keep going, because again, useful idiot. Where's this energy coming? If I just brought up Joe Kent, would you know who he is? I'm not just being mean, I'm being serious. Kent is at the center of growing MAGA backlash to the war. All right, how many times have we had a backlash from MAGA? How many times have we been told that MAGA no longer supports President Trump? I mean, it's been as far as silly things, like it wasn't the ballroom, but it was something like that where MAGA's turning on Trump because of whatever. It has sparked outrage among some on the right who believe the conflict clashes with Trump's campaign pledges to avoid foreign military entanglements. He met with other prominent MAGA war dissenters, meaning I think Joe Kent, last month to plot their next steps. That's that secret cabal, that meeting that was going to lead to maybe Tucker running for president. It's unclear how deep the appetite is for a GOP reckoning on Iran. A recent AP NORC poll found most Republicans still back Trump on the conflict, but that support has slipped. So wait a minute. It takes 5-6 paragraphs for USA Today's Zach Anderson, after, if you read between the lines, praising Joe Kent for attacking Trump, then saying, well, yeah, MAGA's going to leave on Iran. But if you look at the polls, not really. But never mind that. A gathering he attended at the main home of conservative media personality, not a conservative media personality, Again, not a conservative media personality, Tucker Carlson. But that's how they present him. He's the face. This is what makes the media so frustrating. He's the face. He's the voice of you. If you're a Trump supporter, I know you laugh at it. It's a joke. That's how the media wants to portray him. The media included Tucker, Joe Kent, Representative Thomas Massey, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who resigned from her position earlier this year and said she no longer supports the Republican Party. I think it should be noted, if you're going to give some background on this, Mr. Anderson, may I suggest putting in the fact that she resigned her position, leaving her constituents high and dry, and resigned at the exact right time so she still get her pension. Doesn't seem to be mentioned. It's always she resigned. Why did she resign when she did? Why would you leave if you care about your state or your district? Why would you resign? If you're that upset with Trump and his policies, why not continue the fight against them instead of doing that fight on The View, doing that fight against your article on USA Today? Kent shared details of the meeting, saying an anti-war political coalition could be a force in future elections and offering different scenarios for the shape it might take, while noting it's still in its early stages. We still have to flesh out what the coalition is all about. Yeah, I know. The White House did respond when Kent criticized the war, saying that Kent is a quitter. President Trump has destroyed nearly all of Iran's military capabilities and is crushing what's left of its abysmal economy with the most powerful naval blockade in world history. In quitter Joe Kent's twisted mind, that somehow means Iran is winning. Trump told reporters after Kent's resignation that I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. Yeah, I know. I shouldn't give so much time to this, but they're calling it, is it a GOP reset? Vice President J.D. Vance is a likely contender for the party's nomination, but Kent said he could face a credibility problem after serving in an administration that launched a new war. It's going to be hard to get to the 77 million voters who voted for Trump, who are probably going to be mad and feel a certain degree of betrayal and say, yeah, I was a part of that, but trust me, it's going to be different this time. So he's giving J.D. Vance a lecture about how to get the votes. Joe Kent couldn't run for dog catcher, and they're trying to create a party, and that's no insult to dog catcher. 77 million, and he's couldn't get to that. He has no credibility, but Kent does. But Thomas Massey does. Marjorie Taylor Greene, leaving her constituents high and dry and making sure she could collect that her pension when she retired. That's credibility, folks. I know. I spent too much time on it. I totally agree. USA Today decided probably around 7, 8, 9, 10 pages of ink was worth it on the MAGA dissidents and that future political powerhouse. All right, enough on that. I know, I'm running late. Got a little worked up, got on a tangent. Stay with us.
It's layaway your swimming pool time at Hasselsin's for next year. With Hasselsin's Easy Layaway Plan, only $500 down guarantees you this year's price and gets you on an early installation date for next year. But hurry in, as next year's list will fill fast. Same great pricing, same great service, same great installation. Come in early so you can enjoy your new swimming pool all summer long. Hasselsin's, your locally owned and operated swimming pool store since 1955, will always be there for you today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hasselsin's.
Small businesses are the heart of America. Like you, these entrepreneurs started out with a dream and the drive to build a better life. If you have a small business idea to grow or challenge to face, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1964, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses. Today, they are the nation's largest nonprofit source of expert mentoring, resources, and education. Whether you're starting out, building back, or have worked at it for years, SCORE will match you with specialized mentors. Our thousands of volunteers provide the guidance and connections you need for free. Your success is waiting. SCORE is ready to help. Find a mentor today at SCORE.org.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Mark writes in and says, good morning. Well, I say good morning to you, Mark. Never heard of Joe Camp till you just mentioned him, but there are a lot of people like him trying to get fame. Yeah, that's what it is. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a prime example. She loved the fame that she received when she was an attack dog for Trump. And oftentimes saying some pretty outlandish things against other politicians. Really, I got criticism at the time of this program. I was never a big fan. Something always seemed off about her politically. And I think she realized, wait a minute, if I go the opposite side of that coin, I start bad-mouthing Trump, then the media's coverage is no longer going to be negative. It's going to be positive. And she loves that fame. She loves to stay relevant. You know what's crazy? I have to take a break already because I ran so late in that last segment. I do want to let you know, though, a couple quick things, if you don't mind. In the 7 o'clock hour, the VA Finger Lakes are going to join us about their stand-down event. You don't want to miss this. If you know anybody that is a veteran that is, maybe struggling to get some of their benefits or has just some questions, well, it's called the Veterans Stand-Down at Dunn Field, and it's going to be Thursday, August 27th, so next Thursday, a week from today, from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. at historic Dunn Field. We'll learn all about that in the 7 o'clock hour. Tomorrow on the program, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. I almost combined it with Fridays with Phil. Assemblyman Phil Palmisano is Fridays with Phil. We always look forward to that, so get your questions in for the Assemblyman. And don't forget, if you're bored today, you got a little free time, come on down to the great Steuben County Fair and say hi. I'll be there from 12 to 2 today at the Republican booth. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Getting ready to wrap up our number one after this.
Give kids time. Just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen. Give kids time. Just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
Tide isn't just a gentle ebb and flow. It's a mighty force of change. Just like the tide shapes our shorelines, we can shape our planet's future and protect the world's oceans from its biggest threats. Help us turn the tide. Join Oceania's wave of ocean advocates who are making a difference in the world.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've got some cooler conditions to talk about, some showers and thunderstorms as well here in Elmira and surrounding communities. High temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s range. We're thinking below the average. We'll clear out of the rain as an area of high pressure will be building into tomorrow, limiting our rain chances. Plenty of sunshine to be had as we wrap up the work week. As we look forward to the weekend, some late showers can't be ruled out Saturday with limited coverage.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street in Corning, getting ready to wrap up our number one. All right. In doing so, okay, at the top of the hour, we're going to tell you about a couple, I think, really cool local stories, if you don't mind, and humor me for a moment. Then we're going to get into the Democrat Socialists of America, this John Ossoff and his attacks on, they think it's fun in the media because they consider it an attack on Trump. But as Miranda Devine said, it's an attack on Natalie Harp. And we'll talk about that. Some updates from yesterday's, 2 days ago's primaries. Then I have some New York State updates. What else we got? Hakeem Jeffries, he's trying to win over this far left, the far left that supports packing the Supreme Court. And according to the Post editorial board, it's getting to the point of pathetic. Hakeem Jeffries says he isn't backing the Democrat Socialists of America's goal, but he is declaring war on the Supreme Court. Does he think the Democrat Socialists of America will be satisfied with that and sane Americans won't be alarmed? That's been the problem with Hakeem Jeffries really since the beginning. He tries kind of the straddle the fence, and he ends up making everybody in his party angry. Now, they won't attack him to the same level they'll attack Chuck Schumer. A lot of it's because of age as well, because we're at a point in the Democrat Party where they want to get rid of the old guard, and Hakeem Jeffries is still considered part of the newish guard. So he hasn't gotten the scrutiny that Schumer has, but is still... Look at the Democrat Socialists of America that booed him on that election night, where they posted his photo and they started screaming, "You're next," which the media said, nah, that's very troubling, because it's a group of white Democrat Socialists of America yelling at Hakeem Jeffries that you're next. Anyway, Jeffries said that he doesn't support the DSA agenda, as has been articulated by the DSA itself. Yet he also warns that Democrats will push for dramatic reform of the Supreme Court because its conservative right-wing majority is a subsidiary of the MAGA Republican Party. Again, I can't belabor this point enough, but how many losses has the Supreme Court? Because the left cheers this too. The media cheers it when Trump is handed a loss by the Supreme Court. But then on the next breath, they'll say, but it's all MAGA. It's just a rubber stamp for President Trump. Just like they say Susan Collins is a rubber stamp for President Trump. But it's so infuriating. You hope the American people see it, but the media is very good at playing off short-term extension. Why am I drawing a blank on the word? Attention spans. There we go. My goodness. Got distracted. That street sweeper comes by, and all of a sudden I'm distracted by a big truck. But the short-term... Anyway, the Supremes have sometimes come down on the administration's side, but they've also slapped down President Trump's repeatedly on his bid to upend birthright citizenship, the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit, his beloved tariffs, and a whole lot more. That's just what the New York Post quickly mentioned. But there's been so many instances. They're not a rubber stamp, but they don't want you to remember that. They don't want you to remember when they celebrated the losses that President Trump was handed. So while it's nice that the House Democrats leader isn't embracing the DSA's most outrageous plans, like scrapping the court altogether, along with the Senate and even the presidency, waging war on the high court is still outrageous. Worse, Jeffries is putting rabid left Representative Jamie Raskins in charge of his anti-Supreme Court agenda, a clear sign that he won't hesitate to keep delegitimizing the court simply because it declines to impose a progressive agenda. If Democrat leaders want to stop the far left's takeover of their party, they're going to have to reject its agenda and offer a sane alternative that genuinely appeals to the broader public. Too bad that appeasing the left seems to be Jeffries' idea of leadership. That's what all the Democrats have been doing. That's why the DSA has risen the way that they have, because Cuomo did it, Hochul's done it. They try to appease them so they won't have a challenge, and then they smell blood. The DSA smells blood. But I know I'm running time. I'm running late. I'm out of time. Stay with us.
I just love coming in after they've been here and seeing everything clean and tidy. It's such a good way to start the week.
Sometimes I wonder if they are magic.
I feel like it's the details that is everything. The being able to pick up on things that most people don't see or don't even think about.
House, business, or anything else, go with Magic Rags. The Enchanted Crew has you covered from ceiling to floor.
Having a safe home is essential to many aspects of our lives. From a sense of community and safety, to physical and mental health, to economic security and independence. Most homes in our communities are not accessible and are not designed to accommodate the changes that come with age, including the risk of falling. The Older Adults Home Modification Program helps reduce the risk of falls, improves safety, and increases accessibility and independence. Through this program, Rebuilding Together works with older adults to provide no-cost preventative home repairs so our neighbors can safely age in place in the homes and communities they love. To learn more, visit rebuildingtogether.org/safeathome.
And we welcome you to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio here on Market Street in Corning. Wrapping up kind of what we were discussing in the last hour. I could not think of short attention span. I kept trying to throw in short-term attention span. It was getting me all messed up. I apologize. That's what I was thinking of trying to get to live on air. That's what the media is hoping, that you don't realize that the Supreme Court has handed Trump a lot of losses. So in one moment, they can celebrate, revel in the fact that Trump lost this Supreme Court decision, or they wouldn't take up this decision. And in the next breath, they'll tell you it's a rubber stamper. That's all it is for Trump. So back to the point that the New York Post was making, that DSA, you can't keep caving and say, oh, I don't agree with their agenda, but we'll do this for you. It's like Hochul. Yeah, okay, we'll give you the second home tax. Yeah, okay, we'll bail you out. So we're going to continue to talk about the DSA, but a little bit here about Ossoff before that. But having said that, I've been promising this all morning. We have two, I think, really cool local stories. Let's start first with our good friend. On Monday morning, we talked with Nick Pelham. He's the manager of the Steuben County Fair, which I'll happen to be at. This is a way to promo that I'll be there from 12 to 2 today. But Nick Pelham, I just think this is wonderful. A large gathering of friends, family, community members, and local leaders came together Wednesday at the Steuben County Fairgrounds to celebrate the dedication of the exhibition building in honor, here we go, of Nick and Robin Pelham. Congratulations. The surprise dedication recognizing the Pelhams for their years of service, dedication, and countless contributions to the Steuben County Agricultural Society and the Steuben County Fair. Nick Pelham has devoted years to the Agricultural Society, serving as fair secretary and fair manager, while also serving as a member of the Steuben County Legislature. Robin Pelham has likewise given countless hours to the Agricultural Society, serving as its treasurer. Together, Nick and Robin have played an important role in the continued success and improvement of the fairgrounds. From our good friend, Steuben County Legislative Chair Kelly Fitzpatrick, she said, the dedication of this building is a fitting tribute to two people who have done a tremendous amount of work for the Agricultural Society. Their tireless efforts have made vast improvement to this gem in Steuben County. The dedication is more than the naming of the building. It is a lasting tribute to two people who have given their time, energy, and heart to a place that means so much to generations of Steuben County families. So congratulations to our good friend, Nick Pelham and Nick and Robin Pelham, for your exhibition building. I look forward to looking for that today. Second, we're just starting hour number 2 with some great news. I love this. Our friend, Mayor John Buckley, who's been on this program numerous times, and he's been kind enough to have me on his radio show, The Pulse, on WLEA, Saturdays and Sundays at 1 in Hornell. He presented Bernard Bernie McEnany with the key to the city of Hornell during the Hornell Irish Festival on Saturday, August 15th, honoring, I've got to find it here. I apologize. I had the picture. Here we go. Honoring a longtime resident whose lifetime of service, friendship, and dedication has left a lasting mark on the Hornell community. Born in Philly in 1932 to Irish immigrants Thomas and Kathleen McEnany, Bernie moved to Hornell in 73 and quickly became an important part of the community he has now called home for more than 5 decades. Along the way, he and his wife Esther raised a family of 8 children, which has grown to include numerous grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He's a proud United States Army veteran. Bernie worked at SKF Industries for 40 years before retiring. His commitment to public service included 8 years representing the 5th Ward as alderman and 16 years serving the community as Hornell City Clerk. And the list just goes on and on. What an amazing resume. You could tell he does so much for the community, so congratulations. How appropriate to have him receive the key to the city. Mayor Buckley said, Bernie is one of those people who truly represents what Hornell is all about. He has spent a lifetime serving others, and he has done it with tremendous pride in his family, his heritage, and his community. It was a privilege to present him with the key to the city and to recognize someone who meant so much to so many people in Hornell. The key to the city was presented as a symbol of Hornell's gratitude for Bernie's extraordinary lifetime of service and for the special place he has earned in the history and heart of our community. That's so nice. I'm so glad we got to start off hour number 2 with such great stories. Warms your heart, doesn't it? Okay. Now let's get to the doom and gloom. That was just distractions so that you wouldn't hear all the bad news I'm about to present to you. So as I had mentioned a little bit in the 6 o'clock hour, this attack on Trump's aide, Natalie Hart, You can go to Drudge Report right now. You'll find, what I count, 7, 8 different articles the media is writing as Miranda Devine said, kind of the sly and sexist way they're trying to attack her because she's a loyal. Because, boy, no president wants anybody around them that's loyal, apparently, in the history of the presidency, until Trump. But John Ossoff is the one that's attacking her the most, and that gives the media an opportunity to then dive in to Natalie Harp's kind of story. Senator John Ossoff didn't even use her full name, but everybody in Washington knew who he was talking about. At a recent campaign event, the Georgia Democrat argued that President Trump would rather travel with Natalie on Air Force One than do the hard work that comes with being commander-in-chief. This piece, by the way, is by Philip Wegman, Meredith McGraw, and Josh Dawsey. I believe this is Wall Street Journal. My printer cut off. Let me see. Yep, the Wall Street Journal. Okay. The Natalie in question is Natalie Harp, a 35-year-old aide to Trump who has become an object of fascination for both the left and the right. Though she rarely speaks, she is an omnipresent figure on Trump's side, standing just off camera during Oval Office events, traveling with the president around the country and the world, and tapping out his social media posts. Videos and photos of her interacting with the president have racked up millions of views online, becoming a new form of Trump-era clickbait. I don't want to go through any more of this because I want to bring up, well, Ossoff is finding his niche, as I mentioned in the last hour. He says no one cares about sycophantic Natalie Harp's feelings. It's amazing to watch the White House melt down over all this all week, Ossoff said. And about Natalie Harp, these White House staffers are adults, public officials paid by the taxpayer, with immense power and positions of public trust. And whether it's Natalie Harp printing out Donald Trump's daily dose of delusion and flattery, or Peter Navarro steering taxpayer-funded loans to Trump family investments, or Pete Hegseth deluding the president's daily into deepening his quagmire in the Middle East, no one cares about their feelings. The sailors on the Lincoln are fighting his war, a war based on lies, while he plays with his new ballroom, flies around on a jet given to him by a foreign prince, and retreats into the circle of sycophantic aides who tell him every day that what he wants to hear, not what he needs to hear. This entire White House is responsible for lying the country into war and for the rest of their careers, and they will be known for having participated in this obscenity. Now, why do I mention that? First of all, I do find it really interesting that these people are all telling the president what they want to hear. Boy, that would have been interesting if we had anybody critical of that for the 4 years under Biden. When he was surrounded by the people who were telling he could still run for re-election. But anyway, I don't want to do the whataboutism, but all of a sudden, the Ossoff, because he is making these, and I don't think it's even a veiled kind of sexist remarks about Natalie, that he's all of a sudden a rising star. And I asked this question in the 6 o'clock hour, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But Ossoff is testing Democrats' appetite for going low. So if you did not know this, if you're just waking up this morning, the Democrats have not went low yet. They're just so high above going low that they don't even know what it looks like. They don't even know what it feels like. So this could be shocking for them. Will they embrace it? I mean, again, remember a year ago, they were embracing it with Gavin Newsom, and that's why he was a rising star. And you get numerous examples. I'm just saying how, going back to the term I couldn't remember, short attention span, they're hoping you don't remember when they had basically the same articles about Gavin Newsom, right? And by the way, well, I was going to say, Ken had the nicest comment this morning, if you're just tuning in. I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag too soon, but several very reliable anonymous sources say Frank Acom is the front runner to take over for Carolyn Leavitt. Made me laugh very hard, but the fact that I could not remember short attention span makes me think, Ken, your anonymous sources, you got to talk to somebody else. But I want to bring up this John Ossoff because I think Miranda Devine, I know I've kind of done this precursor all morning long, but she said, John Ossoff must be pleased with himself. The accidental senator for Georgia has finally made a name for himself with a disgustingly sly attack on President Trump that insinuated an adulterous relationship with Natalie Harp, the sweet young woman who posts Trump's social media missives. Harp, 35, is the last person who deserves such shabby treatment. She battled debilitating bone cancer in her 20s. I did not realize that. I don't know much about this Natalie Harp. All I know is that the media, when the media harps on someone or they latch onto somebody and they're doing it to demean President Trump, it raises red flags. They don't care. Ossoff doesn't care that she had debilitating bone cancer in her 20s. Ossoff is trying to make a name for himself. There's already talks, just because of his recent attacks, about him running for 2028. Did you know who he was before this? They caused her severe pain and trapped her in a wheelchair. She is devoted to President Trump because she believes he saved her life when he gave patients access to experimental drugs in his first term. She expressed her gratitude to him in a heartfelt speech at the 2020 Republican National Convention while still an anchor at the One America News Network. He asked her to work for him during the wilderness years between presidencies, and she has been a loyal fixture at his side ever since, through the ordeal of court cases and assassination attempts. It grieves her that the man she regards as a father figure has been so besieged by evildoers. Harp is a devout Christian who believes that helping the president combat what she calls the deranged radical left is God's work. And who is to say she's wrong? Well, Senator Ossoff, that's who. The mediocre non-entity who won a fluke runoff for the Democrats in the wake of the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, harbors lofty ambitions for 2028. So on Sunday, in a grandiose, cookie-cutter, anti-Trump talking point ramble at a rally in Atlanta, he I'm sorry, I got that out of order. So on Sunday, in a grandiose recitation of a cookie-cutter, anti-Trump talking points at a rally in Atlanta, he smuggled in a cheap shot at Harp, using her first name as a sly wink to thrill his base by implying an unsavory familiarity with the president. Yeah, just using her first name to demean her, try to wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Natalie, instead of, this too familiar. Trump, quote, doesn't want to do the job. He wants to build his ballroom and travel with Natalie. While Democrats disingenuously claimed Ossoff was not implying anything untoward, the media took the obvious bait, obviously. CNN especially leaped on the smear like ravenous jackals, thrilled for the distraction from the Democrats' Chinese spy scandal, care of Eric Fang Sowell, which they have not mentioned. That you can only find that on conservative outlets, so that gave them an excuse not to mention it. Miranda Devine, spot on, as normal. The very private Harp doesn't give interviews, but she said she remains upbeat despite it all, and has told friends she has stayed focused on mission 24/7. Too much to do and too little time to do it. The willowy homeschooled blonde has a fresh-faced innocence that makes the pylons seem all the more erroneous, which is why an impressive parade of Republican VIPs have lined up to defend her all week. Nobody believes there's anything in Ossoff's innuendo, even her estranged brother, Preston, who CNN despicably interviewed. Preston Harp is clearly Trump deranged, but he ruled out a romantic relationship between the 80-year-old president and his executive assistant. The worst thing he could say about his sister was that their mother raised them to believe in American exceptionalism, a concept he abhors. That was his insult. He also said it's unhinged, her love for Trump. Trump is like everything that my mom taught us to respect, he said. I think that's what her infatuation for Trump comes from, honestly, because I don't think it's a physical attraction. The tragedy of their father's suicide in 2020 was dredged up this week as bottom feeders kept digging in the dirt. But remember, they don't go low. Do the Democrats even have an appetite for low? Axios asks. They can just run this woman through the mud, through the dirt. Bring up her father's tragic suicide. Interview her brother who does not like Trump and is estranged from her. But do Democrats have an appetite for going low? Turncoat aides from Trump's first term, such as former Deputy Press Secretary turned Kamala Harris supporter Sarah Matthews, were only too happy to be used by CNN to tarnish Harp in an effort to damage the president. Matthews claimed the Secret Service was alarmed by Harp's closeness to the president. But how would she know, since she left the White House before Harp started working for Trump? Her catty remarks are motivated by jealousy, as no doubt were old leaks to the New York Times that Harp once wrote a letter to the president. A sycophantic, which I know is the term everybody keeps using, but it's getting old. Letter to the president. Smoking gun? Does anyone think that White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles would allow a Monica Lewinsky situation on her watch? Not to mention Melania Trump, a formidable woman who is probably the only person in the world the president fears. The First Lady is even less likely to tolerate unseemly shenanigans under her nose. Throughout his life, Trump was surrounded himself with strong, competent women such as Wiles, the first female in the job, and Carolyn Leavitt, who say he is a fair boss who treat them with respect. His Democrat foes can't fathom such a thing. Does Ossoff really think a hard-working, single professional woman can't succeed without sleeping with her boss? It doesn't say much about his own attitude to female staff. Now, the president has labeled Ossoff Pee Wee Herman because he looks like the creepy actor Paul Rubens, who we know how his career collapsed. It's not only the way Ossoff's too clever by half barb has backfired on him, it makes him look grubby and sexist, at odds with the image he has painstakingly cultivated as a Obama wannabe. Even Democrat grandee David Axelrod called his remarks gratuitous and unnecessary. Ossoff has made a name for himself, all right, but it's not what he thought. It doesn't matter when he starts reading those headlines, 2028. But again, Ossoff is testing whether Democrats have an appetite for going low. With what I just brought to you by Miranda Devine and what the media is saying. Had to mention it. We're going to continue to talk about it. I know I'm running really late because we have to hear, not have to, I'm looking forward to hearing from our friends from VA Finger Lakes. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Give kids time. Just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
Give away your swimming pool time at Hesselsen's for next year. With Hesselsen's Easy Layaway Plan, only $500 down guarantees you this year's price and gets you on an early installation date for next year. But hurry in, as next year's list will fill fast. Same great pricing, same great service, same great installation. Come in early so you can enjoy your new swimming pool all summer long. Hesselsen's, your locally owned and operated swimming pool store since 1955, will always be there for you today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
Give kids time. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
Make this the summer Jeep event you've been waiting for. Save over $7,200 on all new 2026 Jeep Wrangler 2-door Sports.
Don't miss the Make This the Summer Jeep event. Drive home your new 2026 Jeep Wrangler today. Chilson Wilcox, selling cars a different way, the right way. Adventure starts here.
Hurry in! When they're gone, they're gone.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've got some cooler conditions to talk about, some showers and thunderstorms as well here in Elmira and surrounding communities. High temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s range. We're thinking below the average. We'll clear out of the rain as an area of high pressure will be building into tomorrow, limiting our rain chances. Plenty of sunshine to be had as we wrap up the work week. As we look forward to the weekend, some late showers can't be ruled out Saturday with limited.
Wow, look at that view. I know I say it a lot, but that's such a pretty view of historic Marcus Street in the heart of the Gafford District, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. All right, we got to take a short break almost already, so I want to read some viewer comments. And then we want to hear from our friends from VA Finger Lakes. Let's go to viewer comments. Good morning, Frank. Good morning. I think the Republican Party needs its own version of The View, possibly called The Other View or The Right View. What's the one with Laura Trump? Hers has, it's got something with view in it. I should have looked that up before a show. I think it was called My View with Laura Trump. Yeah, I thought that was a good name. But continuing with what Jack had to say, with people like Steve Bannon, Alex Jones, Grant Stinchfield, I'm not sure who that is, Megyn Kelly, Dan Bongino, Matt Walsh, Carrie Lake, Jesse Waters, Ted Nugent, etc. The Dems' head would explode and be launching protests about the show From Here to the Moon. I doubt the left media would ever allow it, though. Oh well. One can dream. Thank you very much, Jack. Coming from a different viewer, can Democrats go low? Don't forget who was in fact responsible for shutting the government down, and so on. And don't forget they didn't applaud for the young man who wanted to become a Secret Service agent. Well, yeah, think about when there's a State of the Union or something like that. Yeah, think about what they do and do not stand for. You're 100% right. That's why this headline is so laughable, and that's why I wanted to bring it to you. Ossoff tests Democrats' appetite for going low. Where is it? At a campaign rally, Ossoff went a step beyond the cutting one-liners he's delighted Democrat audiences with, veering into personal insinuation. The Natalie he referred to was an aide. Democrats refrained from criticizing Ossoff, though former Biden White House press secretary Jen Psaki pressed him on why he went there. Ossoff kept at it on Tuesday, calling Trump a draft-dodging crook during a campaign event without referring to Hart. Ossoff's early remark generated enormous attention and highlighted an emerging divide among top Democrats that's more about temperament and ideology. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a potential contender for the White House, and Ossoff, who insists he isn't, are staking out the pugilist end of the spectrum. Both have made a point of confronting Trump at every turn. Newsom with a social media feed devoted to mocking and belittling the president, and Ossoff with a series of viral speeches laced with cutting one-liners. I don't want to go through all their comments. And then they're talking about the other side, but reality check, it's an either-or choice. It's not an either-or choice. No Democrat candidate is going to lay off Trump entirely or campaign without talking about governing. No one has been tougher, more... David Axelrod said, I do think by 28, Americans are going to be looking for the remedy to and not the replica of Trump's casual cruelty. I think Ossoff's clip would have still been bone-crushing effective without the salacious insinuation, which seemed gratuitous. But the righteous indignation on the part of some Republicans who have nothing to say about Trump's crude, relentless nastiness is absurd. So the bottom line, according to Axios, Democrat candidates know voters want a fighter. The question is how low they're willing to go. Yeah, no, this is a brand new thing. Didn't even know it. Comment from a viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Didn't Michelle Obama say something about going lower? Yeah, I mentioned that in the 6 o'clock hour. It's when they go low, meaning the Republican Party, when they go low, we're going to go high, which, of course, was laughable even at the time, because look at the attacks on Trump. Look at the vile things that have been said about Gene Pirro, Carolyn Leavitt, all these people that have an R next to their name that support Trump. But I digress. Frank, does Mr. Blakeman truly have any real chance at defeating the completely incompetent Hochul? But the far-left legislature from downstate is the bigger problem. How can we, the upstate citizens, regain the government in our state? Great question. Blakeman's numbers are looking even better than Zeldin. I know Zeldin ultimately lost it, but looking better than Zeldin. I think with the signs, I think with the media attention, yes. I mean, it's still Republican in New York State, so it's an uphill battle. But we have to have faith. I would also add that's the tough point. How do you get when you see New York City voting Democrat Socialists of America in? I don't know the answer to your question. I know we all got to get out and vote. I think that's one thing that a lot of conservatives in upstate, they get so discouraged they don't go out and vote, or they vote, which I never understand this. They'll go third party, or they'll do something like that. Just get out and vote, and let's see where it goes. Let's try to make the change that we want to see for New York. We got to take a break. Tell all your friends that are veterans. Call them. Text them right now. Let them know, because you want to hear what's coming up next with our friends from VA Finger Lakes. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
At William Mattar, they only handle motor vehicle accident cases.
No, I'm not going to take any lowball offers.
There's nothing William loves more than fighting for his clients and giving them the big money they deserve.
Okay, wow.
But everyone needs an outlet, a chance to get away from it all.
Heads bowed, eyes closed, and now go to your happy place.
Rideshare truck, motorcycle, car, only call William Mattar.
You can just keep watching and scrolling, and the world will still feel like it's falling apart.
Widespread missile highest hospitalization to evacuation in the west.
Or you can take action by joining a movement that's creating real and lasting change instead. Partnering with communities around the globe to help uproot poverty and plant seeds of hope for a brighter tomorrow. Because at World Vision, we believe that no situation is hopeless. Join a movement that's changing the world for good.
Come celebrate the 207th Steuben County Fair from Monday, August 17th through Sunday, August 23rd. Wednesday, August 19th is Broken Bee Rodeo starting at 7 p.m. And there's more. Demolition derbies, monster truck show, games, rides, fun for the whole family. For tickets and information, visit SteubenCountyFair.org. Experience the Steuben County Fair from August 17th through the 23rd.
Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Orseds. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We're broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and in that studio, it's time to talk about the Veterans Stand-On event at Dunn Field. Welcome to the program.
Well, thanks for having us
today. Of course. I'm so excited to talk about this. So we were talking off the air. This has been going on for quite a while, and then at Dunn Field, a great location. Tell us how the planning's going.
Planning's been happening all year round. It's something that happens annually, and Dunn Field and the Elmira Pioneers have been great partners with us for many years. So it's kind of been easy going, I guess I would say.
Yeah, you got it down to a science at this point. And you mentioned that with the Pioneers. We were also talking about that out there. That's so nice that the Elmira Pioneers provide the free lunch. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is.
Our veterans really appreciate that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So tell us, for people that aren't aware, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Tell us, if people aren't aware, what is a Veterans Stand-On event? What will be offered at this event?
So we have several resources. We have community referrals. There will be food. There will be medical screenings. There will be opportunities for assistance with employment, legal services. It's a variety of agencies. So
it's kind of a catch-all. I mean, they can get all the help in one place on one day from 10 to 1 at Dunn Field. Who is this recommended for specifically?
All veterans.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do they need to bring so that they can enter and be a part of it?
Either a DD-214 or some form of military ID.
And you mentioned some of the services that will be offered. Is there anybody there, any group specifically? I mean, obviously the VA Finger Lakes are involved, but are there other groups as well?
Absolutely. The food bank is usually there every single year. They're a huge supporter, giving out free food to our veterans. Like we said, the Pioneers are also a huge supporter of the veterans. They're excited to be able to host it and also provide the free food. We typically have the Department of Veteran Services there to help with claims. VA Finger Lakes will be there to help apply for health care. We have the military surplus items, the haircuts. It's tough to really just pinpoint it down to a handful of providers. With VA Finger Lakes, we are more than healthcare, and we try to stress that because we have so many programs. Another program is going to be our women's health program. We have an intimate partner violence assistance program that's going to be there. We have a whole health program that's going to be there.
When our veterans attend the Stand-On event, how long do they typically spend there? Because it sounds like there's so much offered. It's got to be it could be a long day.
Mm-hmm. Well, typically, in the past, I've seen several veterans kind of hang out all day. They come early, and they, at least, 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's such a perfect scenario where you can get everything done in one afternoon, and you get free lunch.
Absolutely.
But we should let people know that there is no RSVP. This is first come, first serve.
Correct.
Yeah. So they need to know that. So get there right at 10. Gates open at 10. Okay, tell us about, in general, because we were talking about the Stand-On event, but the VA Finger Lakes, for those that are watching and maybe they can't make the event or they've talked with you before, what do you provide and what are things like at the VA right now?
So we're always available. You can just come right down to any of our locations. So VA Finger Lakes is as far north as Rochester, and we go into the northern tier of Pennsylvania. So our main medical centers are in Canandaigua and in Bath with outpatient clinics all up and down through the north and south. A lot of the services that are going to be like at the stand down, but I don't think people realize how much we really do offer.
Right.
And when I say it's more than healthcare, it really is more than healthcare. It's a support system. We have a program that meets in Bath and Canandaigua every single month called the Veteran Connection Cafe.
Okay.
And it's an opportunity for veterans to come down, get free coffee, get free breakfast, hang out with their peers, connect with other people. We've learned that social isolation is something that a lot of people experience, which, as you know, leads to depression. And this gives veterans an opportunity to kind of combat that and to make new friends and make those connections, which actually lead to future connections.
Right.
So that's just kind of an example of how we're more than healthcare. We have rehabilitative programs. We have a national Golden Age Games team. They just came back from Tampa. So this is a group of veterans that are age 55 plus that meet throughout the week and participate in different sports.
That's cool.
Yeah, bocce, air rifle, archery, swimming. There's a lot of them. But
Where do they do that?
In Canandaigua and Rochester mainly is
fun.
where they have their main teams, but
Yeah.
you can participate anywhere. But they travel together. This year, I think we had over 26 veterans go. So when I say it's more than healthcare, it's camaraderie, it's friendship, it's making those connections that are going to keep you healthy physically and mentally.
Right. What do you think the biggest, and I've had this conversation on the program in the past, what do you think the biggest hurdle is in getting veterans to accept the help that they need?
Well, I mean,
yeah. I think one thing, though, are veterans sometimes don't feel that they necessarily deserve it, or if they're getting the help, they're taking it away from another veteran. And so that's a big thing, is that we're here to help everyone.
Yeah, because that's not factually accurate. You're not taking away from somebody else. Everybody deserves this. Everybody earned this.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your job specifically. What is it? What is it that you do at the VA Finger Lakes?
So Candace and I work in the homeless program, but we're specifically in the HUD VASH. So we work directly with Section 8 Arbor Housing and our veterans. So we help house homeless veterans. We case manage them to ensure that they remain in stable housing. There's so much more to it, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
Every day is different.
Every day is different. Do you find that there's a huge need?
Absolutely.
Especially in the times in the economy that we're living in now. Our program is more of an income-based program, and so the need for housing vouchers and assistance has significantly increased.
Sure. So. What can someone, like myself, I'm not a veteran, what can people do like myself to help the VA Finger Lakes?
Just direct people to come to us. Our doors are open. We have a great team in our enrollment and eligibility, but we all genuinely have the heart to serve veterans. We all have some kind of personal connection, whether it's you are a veteran yourself, you have a family member who is a veteran, we all have our reason why we're there. So we genuinely care about all the veterans that are coming through our door. So just, send them our way. They can go to our website, but we're real people, and we're humans that want to talk to you.
Yeah.
So just stop by any of our clinics, any of our medical centers. We're here to support you.
And back to your point, the one-on-one, if nothing else, to talk, to have the conversation, because websites, no matter what they are, don't always have the best. You have to have that conversation. That's why I think this is such an amazing event. I'm so glad that you could be on the program, because the veterans stand down, like I keep saying, is kind of just a catch-all to make it easy for maybe that person that's been on the fence saying, how can I get the help that I need?
Absolutely.
So again, it's August 27th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Dunn Field. So much going on. I'm so glad you could do this morning. Best of luck. Do you think you're going to be ready for the big day?
Absolutely.
Yes,
we're so excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on the show, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. All right. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world.
Hey, you're sober? You drive.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at nationalcasagal.org.
Every job has a moment where it could slow down, or it could keep moving. At D&L Supply and Rental, we focus on what actually matters, keeping your momentum. From emergency rentals to weekend projects, we make it easy, we make it fast, we make it right. Less downtime, because our team knows the job, has what you need, and gets it to you even on Saturdays. D&L, built for momentum.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've got some cooler conditions to talk about, some showers and thunderstorms as well here in Elmira and surrounding communities. High temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s range. We're thinking below the average. We'll clear out of the rain as an area of high pressure will be building into tomorrow, limiting our rain chances. Plenty of sunshine to be had as we wrap up the work week. As we look forward to the weekend, some late showers can't be ruled out Saturday with limited coverage.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hasselson studio. We want to thank our friends from VA Finger Lakes. That is an event that you're not going to want to miss. All of the opportunity to meet one-on-one for our veterans. I've got to say, this is a great service they do, and thank you to Dunfield Pioneers for all they do to put it on. Okay, let's go to some viewer comments, shall we? A viewer asked, what can we do for upstate? You could do what you can to make upstate the 51st state. That would make a big difference. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. Have an enjoyable day. Well, I hope you have an enjoyable day as well. That's very kind of you. Okay, Byron Donald says that David Jolly, his opponent, is a Trojan horse for the Democrat Socialist. This is going to be interesting as we near November, how Republicans are going to handle the Democrat Socialists of America. So we'll see. Jared Moskowitz, who was the more establishment Democrat, he won. He beat the DSA member in the Florida primary. Well, he declared himself, well, he was declared the winner, I should say, and he went on and said his condolences to Hassan Piker. Democrat Socialists of America backed Oliver Larkin, lost to the more moderate Moskowitz in the Democrat primary in Florida's 25th district. My condolences to Hassan Piker, said Moskowitz. Piker responded, saying it's pretty wild that his first thought was a prominent critic of Israel before even thanking his constituents, really worried about his genocidal, emotional support apartheid state. They're claiming that al-Assad, I know I'm moving fast now, al-Assad opened up a 7-point lead over his GOP rival. Take this, as we've been talking about polling the last few days, take this with a huge grain of salt. Michigan Senate candidate Abdul al-Assad came ahead with a healthy lead on his opponent, Republican Mike Rogers, in the latest polling following recent surveys showing a much closer race. According to polling from Susquehanna released on Wednesday, al-Assad is polling at 46%. While Rogers is 7 points behind at 39%. A Fox News survey has Rogers leading al-Assad at 51 to 47. So Abdul al-Assad, and it's going to be a question now, he was embraced by Piker, but it'll be interesting to see, he's trying to distance himself from that now, trying to present himself as more moderate in Michigan. Well, Abdul al-Assad, the Muslim socialist-aligned Democrat nominee for Michigan's open Senate seat, compared his, quote, radical politics to Jesus, arguing that Christ was also considered a radical in his time. Wow. Okay. Obviously, Jesus was a healer and very focused on people's bodies being redeemed. And yet those platforms or policies are being named radical. And we know that you have been referred to as radical. So what do you think about that title? The host asked. The host was from the podcast called The Progressive Christians. He said, Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, was considered radical in his time too. And there is a radical nature to being willing to stand forthright in a time of corruption. Now, I've got to mention too, this is not the first time that he has compared himself to Jesus Christ. He also said that he would take a socialist plan proposed by Bernie Sanders and take it even a step further. When asked whether he would support Bernie Sanders' public ownership model for major artificial intelligence companies, al-Assad argued for some system of public control. Asked during a June 12th appearance on the left-wing Head in the Office podcast whether he supported public ownership models for major artificial intelligence companies like one proposed by Sanders, al-Assad said he wanted to actually take it a step further. He added that while he agreed we need public ownership, we need some system of public control. All right, there we go. We also learned from the DSA, their co-chair, that people, especially younger people, see Cuba was unequal pre-Castro, and that Castro expanded health care. I think you're seeing the results. You're seeing them play out in these elections where our candidates are campaigning on addressing the cost of living crisis so that many people are struggling with the U.S. and especially in Florida. More and more people are not happy with a government that spends now over $1 trillion on a military budget, on expanding the ICE budget to tear communities apart, kidnapping our neighbors. People want our tax dollars being used on things like Medicare for all, raising a living wage, providing health or child care for everybody. So if we want to expand democracy across the world, and especially in the United States, the policies we're talking about are the ways to do it. Many decades of U.S. policy at this point have shown that if we want to expand democracy across the world, military regime change and economic blockades are not the way to do it. I came of an age after Iraq was invaded by the U.S., after Afghanistan was, and democracy did not expand there. If we want to expand free and fair elections anywhere in the world, it's about expanding a more open policy toward the whole world. If we're serious about expanding democracy to Cuba, for example, we should start by going back to the opening up, the economic reform that happened under the Obama administration. Many people, especially younger Americans, now are looking at the history of what happened in Cuba and what it was like before the Cuban Revolution, where it's one of the most unequal societies in the Western Hemisphere. People lived under the brutal conditions, under a power structure where the U.S. corporations were profiting off the labor of the Cuban people. So if we're serious about expanding democracy, going back to the system that existed in Cuba before then is not the way to do it. It's about opening up political and economic reform that starts with free trade, ending the brutal embargo that for over 60 years under economic sanctions from the United States. Why am I reading all that? You get the point, the DSA. Now this is going to tie in. If you recall yesterday, we told you about one of the leaders of the DSA who his mom and dad bought him a house, very expensive house, over $1 million house, not really practicing what he preached. We're going to give you an update on him. Keep those comments and keep those waves coming in because we still have a lot to talk about. We don't have a lot of time to get there. So I hope that you'll keep those comments coming in. Don't forget, though, tomorrow, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. It's Fridays with Phil. He's going to be our guest, so get your questions in ahead of time. You can obviously text live during the program as well. Sometimes it's just easier if you have questions you know you're sitting on to get those listed out so I can just have them ready to talk with him tomorrow. On Monday's show, we're going to be talking with Joseph Hernandez. He is running for New York State Comptroller. You may recall he was on the program, I don't know, a couple months ago. Real nice guy. He's running against Thomas DiNapoli. Now that last time we talked to him, it was before that primary was done with DiNapoli. So it is going to be DiNapoli as the Democrat, Hernandez as a Republican. We're going to talk with him on Monday because he's going to be in the area. He's going to be at the Steuben County Fair this weekend. So we're going to talk with him. Also, who else do we have next week? We just got a litany of amazing guests. We have been really busy. This has been a busy summer with some great guests. I hope you enjoy them all. If there's any that you ever missed, you can find them at WYDCTV.com or on our YouTube page. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Looking for a meaningful day trip close to home? Visit the historic Elmira Prison Camp, one of the most significant Civil War sites in the North. Walk the grounds, stand where history happened, discover powerful stories of courage, sacrifice, and survival that shaped our nation. Whether you're a history enthusiast, a family looking to learn together, or simply exploring the Finger Lakes region, we offer an experience you won't forget. Plan your visit today at elmiracivilwar.org. Preserve, discover, remember.
Layaway your swimming pool time at Hesselsen's for next year. With Hesselsen's Easy Layaway Plan, only $500 down guarantees you this year's price and gets you on an early installation date for next year. But hurry in as next year's list will fill fast. Same great pricing, same great service, same great installation. Come in early so you can enjoy your new swimming pool all summer long. Hesselsen's, your locally owned and operated swimming pool store since 1955, will always be there for you today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
Give kids time. just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling and listen.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to some viewer comments, shall we? Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. Thank you for helping our veterans. Greatly appreciate it. Anytime. That's not even a question. We don't do enough to help our veterans here, but we try our hardest, and we're proud to have the VA Finger Lakes on to tell us about that amazing event coming up a week from today. We've tried to have other groups on because we can't thank our veterans enough and the people that served enough. So that little tiny bit that we did, very, very, very proud of it. So thank you for the kind words. Comment from a different viewer regarding the now $40 trillion debt. Might we remind our elected leaders that the first rule of getting out of the hole is to put down the darn shovel? And then ... Sorry, forgot to say good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. No need to say good morning. You're exactly right. Yes, put away the shovel, please. $40 trillion. My goodness. Comment from a different viewer, a so-called socialist, who I believe are closet communists, talking about expanding a democracy. Go figure. Isn't it weird when they don't hide their socialist or communist intentions, and then they tell us and lecture us about democracy. It's a really weird place to be. Well, it goes, great segue, into this guy, this hypocrite, the top DSA leader, whose parents set him up in a cushy Brooklyn Brooklyn house, not apartment, short-circuited as a union electrician. Listen to this. He loses his job as an electrician because he used to brag about being in the union, and then that kind of changed, and it turns out he lost his job. He wasn't showing up to his electrician gig. So he got fired, right? So what do you do when you get fired? He convinced his socialist comrades in the DSA to pay him $95,000. Former Yale liberal arts student Gustavo Gordillo was fired from his apprenticeship program in March after ghosting his employer for months, just not showing up. He never became a fully credentialed electrician, and that is according to IBEW Local 3 Union. A source close to the union said he didn't have a strong work record to begin with. Just keep that in mind if you keep voting socialism. These are the people who, the utopia of everybody's kind of carrying the same load. These are the kind of people that are going to be in charge. They're not going to want to go out and do the work. He didn't have a strong work record to begin with and took the job just for show while hogging a slot from someone who probably really needed the opportunity. But Gordillo failed to mention that he got in canned when sources said he made an emotional appeal to Democrat Socialists of America rank and file for full-time pay and benefits last month. Both of them, Gordillo and his co-chair, Grace Mauser, went into detail on their day jobs on how since Zohran Mamdani won, they were getting so much national attention. He even regaled the audience with stories about the struggles of him having to do media interviews, using an earpiece on construction job sites, telling the crowd it was too distracting, never telling them that he had been fired. The measure to pay Gordillo and Mauser each $95,000 a year with benefits ended up passing. This appeal to a struggle that he is facing doesn't seem real at all. It's a lie. So this is after his parents, his rich parents, bought him a $1 million home. And that's going to be where we take a break and get your last second comments in, because I want to mention a little bit more on this. And it's by Kristen Fleming. I think you're really going to enjoy. Then I hope I have time for Tim Robbins. I have a New York State update, but we're going to save that for Phil Palmisano tomorrow. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking, getting ready to wrap up today's edition.
This is one of the busiest highways in America. Thousands of trucks travel up and down it all hours of the day, and big trucks can cause catastrophic injuries. That's when you need the power of William Mattar, the largest motor vehicle accident firm in the state. At William Mattar, we only handle motor vehicle accident cases, and we fight for big money and big results. Hurt in a car, only call William Mattar.
The Vinci says it will cover hotel stays for residents through March 20th.
They're pushing for an additional $250 million to the state budget.
Give kids time. Just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've got some cooler conditions to talk about, some showers and thunderstorms as well here in Elmira and surrounding communities. High temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s range. We're thinking below the average. We'll clear out of the rain as an area of high pressure will be building into tomorrow, limiting our rain chances. Plenty of sunshine to be had as we wrap up the work week. As we look forward to the weekend, some late showers can't be ruled out Saturday with limited coverage.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back. So I want to mention what Kristen Fleming had to say. But the guy trying to shove socialism down our throats is actually a rich kid who lives in a $1.5 million Bed-Stuy home paid for and renovated by his daddy. By day, Gustavo Gordillo, the co-chair of the Democrat Socialists of America New York chapter, has appeared on Fox News rallying against capitalism and landlords, saying we don't think that anybody should have the constitutional right to double-digit returns on their investment, he once said. But by night, the 38-year-old propagandist returns home to rest his head in a single-family Brooklyn home that his father bought through an LLC in 2019. Before that, from 2016 to 2019, Gordillo lived in a $2,600 a month apartment on the Lower East Side, the rent paid for by his father's LLC. Reached by the Post, Gordillo's father confirmed the cushy living agreement. My son and my other son both live there. The LLC purchased the home, and then we did the renovations. An immigrant to this country from Peru, his father probably said that with much pride. He had been successful enough to achieve the American dream and give his kids a very good life that includes a Yale education and a very nice place to live in one of the most expensive cities in the world. That his son would become a radical socialist trying to pull the ladder up behind him is so unoriginal, it's cliche. It's the story as old as time with this with socialism. After all, the more we learn about the DSA's cult leaders, the more we understand that they're all rich kids trying to seize power while posing not only as heroes of the working class, but also active members. Even go back to Graham Plattner, who I know is disgraced and out, but they were trying to make him out to be a lobster fisherman or something like that. The only people that ever bought what he caught was his parents. But I'll continue. These people have no shame, but they do have family money to fall back on. They are a frivolous and deeply unserious group that Senator John Kennedy has cleverly called the Lululemons. That's Zohran Mamdani, whose rich and successful parents own a compound in Uganda and up until 2019 owned a Chelsea loft. His resume is as thin as Gordillo's pencil mustache, but he is now our mayor. Mamdani's tenant advocate, C. Weaver, has called home ownership a weapon of white supremacy, despite being raised by university professors in sprawling suburban homes. Streamer Hassan Piker grew up in the lap of luxury, currently lives in a $3 million Los Angeles home, and drives a $200,000 Porsche. He has also called Mao Zedong one of the great leaders of the world. Their communist forefathers shared the same pedigree. Fidel Castro and Lenin were children of wealth and privilege. Gordillo's story is particularly amusing. He came to the U.S. with his family as a young child and grew up outside of Miami. He graduated from Yale in 2010 with a degree in art and worked in a gallery before claiming that he became a union electrician with IBEW. In fact, he goes by Union Gustavo on Twitter. But as we mentioned, the spokesperson for IBEW said he's a lapsed member, etc. He's not a union electrician. His blue-collar persona, fake. It says here, if I had to guess, Kristen Fleming said, the only time that Gordillo got his hands dirty was when his $14 maca latte spilled over in the lid onto his fingers. His parents own two $3 million homes in Florida. America has been very, very good to Gordillo's family. And this ingrate kid wants to repay our country by dismantling every mechanism that allowed his immigrant parents to work their tails off and become wealthy. He and his ilk are all over-credentialed, underemployed, and radicalized. Their movement is just another power grab. Gordillo's a phony, a fake, a fraud, and he wants the government to take your stuff while he gets to keep his nice things. And finally, Tim Robbins, far-left actor Tim Robbins. I know I mentioned this at the top of the hour, or top of 6 o'clock hour. Very active in Democrat politics. Many would say that he was kind of ahead of the game. He was very far left early on, but even things are getting crazy for him. I personally am not a happy guy with either party, actor Tim Robbins said. I got to say, there's got to be better ideas and better motivation for people to vote for Democrats. They have to get their stuff together. They really do. The Shawshank Redemption star offered his assessment of the Democrat Party during an appearance on a podcast. Keep in mind, his public persona has always been one of very far-left activism. I said, well, I don't want to go through. They go through his film career. Who cares? Robbins argued that people can use political outrage as a substitute for purpose by waking up, checking their phones, and immediately looking for the latest person or political development to hate. Isn't that what the media pushes on you? The idea that you can find your worth and purpose and virtue by hatred is this terrible, terrible idea. The idea that if the source of your hatred is a particular person you don't know, it's even a worse idea. You're battling a concept or an idea or a philosophy. And this is what we've been talking about. This full of hate for over 10 years is not healthy. And it's someone that you're never going to meet. It's someone that you're never going to talk to. And yet you let them control your lives. He continued, so I feel that there are too many people that wake up agitated about political figures on either side, and it's not a good way to start your day. If the first thing you're doing is doom scrolling about something that will make you feel better about your political beliefs, you might try a little yoga, or you might try a little exercise, or take a bike ride. Wow, Tim Robbins to say that. But that is it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Boy, that went fast, huh? We want to thank our friends from VA Finger Lakes. We'll be reminding you about that upcoming stand-down event at Dunn Field a week from today. On tomorrow's program, again, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, so you won't want to miss it. Have a great day. Join us every weekday morning, starting at 6. Hope to see you at the Steuben County Fair today, noon to 12. And we'll talk to you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Look forward to it already.
Looking for a meaningful day trip close to home? Visit the historic Elmira Prison Camp, one of the most significant Civil War sites in the North. Walk the grounds, stand where history happened, discover powerful stories of courage, sacrifice, and survival that shaped our nation. Whether you're a history enthusiast, a family looking to learn together, or simply exploring the Finger Lakes region, we offer an experience you won't forget. Plan your visit today at elmiracivilwar.org. Preserve, discover, remember.
You deserve primary care that connects. Care that helps you move forward. To a provider who knows you. To the care you need. To the life you love. That's the power of a strong connection. Meet your new primary care provider at centralishealth.org/schedule and be seen within a week.
Layaway your swimming pool time at Hesselson's for next year. With Hesselson's Easy Layaway Plan, only $500 down guarantees you this year's price and gets you on an early installation date for next year. But hurry in, as next year's list will fill fast. Same great pricing, same great service, same great installation. Come in early so you can enjoy your new swimming pool all summer long. Hesselson's, your locally owned and operated swimming pool store since 1955, will always be there for you today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.